By break, I don't mean break the stream. Please don't do that. Okay. Are we up? Okay. I think we're live. Oh, now we're live? I don't understand this preview. Do you guys see it yet?
Says we are live.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Awesome. Okay. Thanks, everyone, for coming. Of course, this is the special YouTube-only section of this show. That is extra special just for you while we allow the stream buffering to catch up. Okay. All right. All silent?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ubuntu Touch Q&A, the UBports Foundation show discussing the development of Ubuntu Touch and our community's questions. This is episode 62, streamed live on November 2nd, 2019. Guys, it's already November. Can you believe that?
No.
I cannot.
It's getting cold out here, and that makes me sad, but that also means that I can use my desktop because it heats the room. So I have an excuse now.
Well,
My name is Dalton, and joining me this week are Marius
hello.
and Jan.
Hello.
All right. Good work. And we are posted everywhere. Everyone knows that we're live. Hello, live chat. It's snowing really hard in Moscow, Russia. Oh, I don't want to be here right now. It was snowing a little bit earlier, but not anymore. Thank goodness. And there's a public viewing in Stuttgart. I pronounced that wrong. I'm sorry. But hi. Well, should we get on with it? We have an excellent roundup of news and, oh my gosh, so many questions to get to today, so we should just go with it. So first off, this phone is running Ubuntu Touch from the Devil channel, not the Edge channel. And it looks like Edge, because our Edge merge is complete. So all of the work that's been going in over the past, we're getting close to a year now, getting Mir 1. Whatever, at the time it was 1.2 when we started, and Unity 8 from 2017, plus a ton of patches on top. That's all in Devil now. So everything we're working on is culminating. It's amazing. So, if you install Ubuntu Touch from the Devil channel right now, you will have Mir 1.x and that new Unity 8 with the fancy new drawer. Anyone can do that. We are not enabling the release candidate automatic merging yet, but that should be coming in the next few weeks. So release candidate will stay back to where it is right now, which is the same as Ubuntu Touch OTA 12. So if you install stable or RC right now, you're getting the same image. But Devil, you're getting a really, really cool image. Speaking of installing those really, really cool images, though, Jan, I think you would like to take us away.
Yeah. So, like every time on the last shows, I have to annoy you with installer news. And this one is actually interesting because we are now finally released with the features I've been talking about over the last week. So this happened mid of last week. So this includes our awesome config file format, major refactoring operations everywhere in the installer, a million things, closing all bugs that were open and replacing them with new ones, which is nice. Yeah, but actually, I think it's been Wednesday we released it,
Yes.
and so far the flood of new issues that I expected didn't happen. So that's nice, I guess.
Wow. All right.
And also what's interesting with this one is because we, with our new config file format, we have support for other operating systems as well. So you can basically create a config file for the installer for every operating system, and we are now exploring some possibilities for other projects to collaborate on the installer with us, because of course we want people to be able to install whatever they want, and also maybe they want to check out this one, check out this one, check out that one,
Or maybe Ubuntu Touch.
and then we can all work on this together and improve it together, because most operating systems on the same devices need very, very similar steps. So we can share the effort, and that's going to be very interesting, I think, to see what comes of this. So, for example, we also have some in there that you probably wouldn't expect, like, for example, Asteroid OS, which is a smartphone operating system.
Watch.
Smartwatch operating system. Yes, I'm sorry, I am tired. Yeah, so that's a smartwatch, and that's different from a phone, right? But it uses the same technology essentially, so that also works. And yes, that's you can find on GitHub, UBports Installer. Download it. It's awesome.
Get it now.
And get involved, because it is now a lot easier to get involved than it was before. It is very nice and modularized, and it's Node.js, so it is just a pleasure to work with. And yeah, I can recommend it.
Oh, that public viewing in Stuttgart, is that closer? Is happening from a Nexus 5 running Ubuntu Touch. That's pretty cool. It's hooked up to a projector.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Oh, wow.
All
so
right. That looks
who all
awesome.
is
All
there?
right.
Hummelbach, Grille, Tim Sübergriff. Okay, cool. I completely missed that this was happening. Or maybe
Otherwise,
that
you'd
was-
be there, right?
It was organized in secret. Yeah, I'd love to have gone there, but I think they stopped inviting me because I was super unreliable. The last 5 times they organized something like this,
Ooh.
I said I was going to come, but then didn't, because I had like really short term other things. But yeah, hope you're having fun. Cool.
Or they didn't want you there.
Or that, yeah. Let's not rule out that possibility.
I mean, you would be streaming, so
Stefan also joined, he says. So now there are 4 people watching together.
yeah,
Oh, wow.
this was spontaneous. Okay.
Oh.
Oh, I like this stream much better with low latency. This is much better interaction. Good choice, Marius.
Yes.
How about installer and system image yay? Who put this in?
Me.
Okay, take it.
So I've been working on. I will start with the system image part of it. We're working on bringing up ARM64 and some new devices on there. So now we have OnePlus 3 and Sony Xperia. I spelled that wrong.
.com.
So we now have 2 new, completely ARM64 based devices that runs flawlessly, I would say, with some flaws.
80% of the time, it works every time.
Yes, well, it's pretty close. We have some stuff missing on both of them. He has the Xperia, I has the OnePlus. Well,
This is running the ARM image because I like using my phone, but you know,
This is running in the ARM64 image because
it's fast.
it's much faster, and it has everything as you expect working too. So
Yeah, like the camera. Oh,
Like-
wait. Oh, okay.
yeah. It also has GPS working, which it doesn't on the other one. So
Yeah.
it actually have more things working. The only thing,
This isn't a fight, guys.
this is a fight. This is definitely a fight. Also, what we're working on is getting the installer working with those devices. Well, it was just making a config file. Jan did all the awesome work. and it now just installs, and it's cool.
So you can't select it in the installer yet, but the nice new thing with these config files as well is that you can just load custom config files and try them out before we roll it out for everyone, right? And it's a lot easier to do that now. Actually, we've been working on this until like half an hour before the show, where we just like 3 people in different places have been saying, okay, now you need this, now you need that, and it's just a beautiful way of working, I think, in the installer right now, with these config files. And then you can say, okay, we need this feature maybe for this device new, and then we can test it. And it's, I just love it. It makes me really happy that we have this now.
Oh, okay.
Also, the really awesome thing about it also is everything is in GitHub now. So first of all, it fits in with already workflow, but it also makes contributing and fixing bugs for other people easier than using the old method we had before with the APIs.
Yeah, exactly.
So Jan did amazing on this. Praise
And I
him
think
on
that I'm helping you with the Mac version after this. I'm pretty sure. Is that what you pinged me about?
Maybe not tonight,
Okay.
but sometime. Yeah, so
All
we of course have to test a little more, and with the new macOS Catalina.
Okay, I can't test Catalina yet.
Yeah, there's some weird things with permissions and confinement, but in general, most of the basic things are there. So on macOS, which isn't the latest, it works. On Windows, it
10.15,
works.
yeah.
On most Linux, normally it works. 80% of the
Cool.
time it works. 100% of the time.
Hi, Cheese Bacon. Nice to see you here. All right. So, if you got devices out there, you might just want installed just because. Don't check wipe, it won't break your data. You just got to see the new installer, though. Okay, maybe that isn't so practical. The OTA 12 cycle is off to a great start. If I said OTA 12 before, talking about RC and stable, those are at 11, not 12. I think someone corrected me on that. The 12 cycle is off really a good start, though. So not only did we merge that Edge, we've also got some fixes in for the browser, including, of course, as always, translations, but a fix especially to the ephemeral browsing sessions that I think a lot of people like. Chris has also worked on support for setting your home page to the new tab page, which wasn't there previously and was never there in even the old browser, which is interesting. And allowing you to download files from web apps and access those downloads. So that should all be coming in OTA 12. And I think you're going to like that. All right, let's take a breath, everyone. And thank our sponsors. So thank you to our infrastructure sponsors for UBports, including Smooze, Private Internet Access, DigitalOcean, and Packet.net. You are all making it possible for us to make an awesome mobile operating system that people from around the world love. And we love you for it, so thank you very much. I'd also like to thank our community sponsors, who, I need to pull that up again, include our $20, I believe, level on Patreon, Darko Balka, George Toma, Laurentine Tilleman, Milan Iliv, Renat Mirkalev, Scott Marley, Sergio Shvetsov, Thoralf Sand, and Yogesh Patad. If you'd like me to mispronounce your name as well, you can head over to patreon.com/ubports. Or if you want to donate another way, you can head over to ubports.com/donate. I did not forget about that, Marius. Thank you. We have a lot of questions, and I think, yes, teleports as well. Florian wanted us to announce this in his stead. He's been working hard on teleports, the Telegram app for Ubuntu Touch, and unfortunately he could not be here today. Florian's a little under the weather, but we soldier on. So The major highlights are adding the contact lists, as well as a button to jump down to the last message in a thread, and better notification handling. That's the big headline. But the complete changelog is over at GitLab. I can post that in live chat here. Excuse me, where's my mouse? There it is. I'm a good streamer. There. All right. So thank you, Florian, for working on that, as well as the community around teleports. I know that those guys have been working really hard on this release. So thank you. Other things include join leave messages. Oh, this is going to be a really good release. I can't wait. I bet Jan already installed the pre-release. He's cheating.
Sorry, what?
Never mind. Next.
Sorry, I haven't been.
Have you been browsing the forum while we were doing this?
No, I have been chatting on Telegram. I'm sorry. I will be
naughty.
good from now on.
Okay. Let's take some questions. We take these questions from the forum every couple of weeks when we do this show. We have a post that comes out somewhere between Monday and Wednesday, depending on when I get the YouTube live link to team. And we take these questions. People in the forum go to the front of the line. So, first from Dom UBP KM. The GitLab company wanted to set up new conditions for use and tracking without consulting their users and customers, if I remember right, or if I have this right. They've gone backwards under the risk of disaffection from GitLab by their customers, but the damage may have been done. GitLab almost temporarily lost its soul in its philosophy. How did you react to these new yet suspended tracking conditions? Because I believe they may appear in another form. Does this make you aware of things to do or not to do in relation to your users of Ubuntu Touch as well? I'll take this. So, what a lot of people... There were, of course, problems with this announcement, right? GitLab used a third-party tracking partner who didn't... who put in proprietary tracking code into the open source community version and the closed source versions of GitLab, right? And I believe that's where the problem in this announcement kind of lie. However, I don't believe that all gathering of metrics on your users is a bad thing. Blanket widespread surveillance and gathering for exploiting people is pretty bad, of course. Very bad. That I don't want to make that sound like a small thing. But to a company who's making something as big as GitLab, having data on how people are actually using your product is super helpful. Knowing where people are going, where they're getting stuck, what errors they're running into is really important. So I believe that there's no reason why they shouldn't have that kind of data on error conditions, usage patterns, things like that. The problem in the announcement was more that it was third-party tracking, and it wasn't entirely clear what the third party was going to do with the data after they had it. As for your second question, yeah, I suppose this shows us something that we should already know. If we introduce third-party tracking into Ubuntu Touch, it would be kind of disastrous. And when you're trying to do data-driven development and you're trying to do it quickly, that can lead to you trying to cut corners on gathering of that data. But there are privacy-respecting options. There are statistical ways to ensure that you are anonymizing data and doing that in an open way. And I would say that would be the proper architecture of a thing like this, which is just what we would have to do. Cheese Bacon says, I openly give metrics to Ubuntu and other Linux distros. I do too. When I install Ubuntu and it asks me for those metrics, of course I send those.
Yeah, I do that too.
Those are very
I
important
think actually that Ubuntu is a pretty good example of a good way to do it. Of course, when they announced that they were going to do it, they got a lot of flack for it, like everything that Ubuntu announces. But I think they have a pretty good way of doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Geekvine says, Looking over the "What's this Edge merge anyway" post in the forum, are there any steps that developers should take to prepare their apps for issues that might arise as a result of the Edge merge? As an example, I just had to tweak an app to avoid dealing with a couple of morph bugs that a tester had only on Edge. If you're having issues with your apps that are only appearing after the Edge merge, you should definitely file that on GitHub, because nothing should change for apps in this update. And if it did, it's a regression that needs to be fixed. Okay, I need to pull up something here because I got a message from Mardigan on the next one. Okay. That who says, is there any update on switching your contacts backend? Today isn't a good day. To Qt Contacts SQLite. Now, you guys might remember there was a post by Marty on our mailing list and in the forum about switching to Qt Contacts SQLite, which is a contacts backend from Sailfish or Mir, which brings support for more backends for contacts, such as Nextcloud and OwnCloud. So that's why that was a big thing. As commonly happens, there are, of course, schedule changes, and Marty has been having a life. So he hasn't been working on as much as he might have wanted to. But he did send me a issue report. I will post that in live chat now. That's issue 997 on the Ubuntu Touch tracker, which is all about switching that contacts backend out, and he has it updated with the current status of that project. So if you would like to help him out with that, which would be super awesome, both from me and I'm saying that by proxy for him, we would really appreciate it, because that is something that needs to be done, and it'll bring a lot more features to the platform. But it needs someone to do it.
Yep.
Thank you for the question. Yeah, and you're next.
Okay, next question. Gert asks, I think this is on the forum.
Yes.
Has the foundation managed to have a German bank account? As a Patreon user since 2017 from Germany, I would prefer to transfer my little monthly share directly to the foundation. Well, first of all, thank you for being such a long-standing supporter. We really appreciate that. Bank account, yeah, that's a pity that we don't have it yet. We are working on it. There's been a couple of setbacks along the lines, but it will be there soon, TM, very soon. So we will definitely keep you posted. This is actually also the reason why we didn't celebrate the foundation too much yet, because we know that many people are waiting for the opening of the bank account to switch their donations over, because this also means that we can accept tax-exempt donations in Germany, and I believe in some European countries as well, some others. So yeah, we know that many people are waiting for it. It's going to come soon. Sorry, for now, Patreon will have to do.
You're up, Marius.
Yep. So Alan asks, someone turned up in the UBports Unity 8 development group on Telegram today, asking about installing Unity 8 on Ubuntu. I guess he means desktop.
Yes.
There doesn't seem to be anything helpful on the Unity 8 property about this, and I linked it about a dated blog post about it. I know that desktop is not the main focus for the core developers, but I think there is interest in the community to keep the information up to date if driven by correction and changes where possible. Could something like a wiki be used for Unity 8 for the current status of desktop, installing, searching, etc., and link it to it from the landing page? So, Unity8.io actually is hosted on GitLab. So this can be easily modified and PR'd to update and to satisfy. Unity 8.io was really a quick site that was set up, but it was meant to be open so people could edit it. But there are also Unity 8's own README file and also README file on Unity 8 install tools, which also is a useful place to place this instruction. But I think also and we also have the docs that also can be added, a page about this and how to install. So we have plenty of pages where to add stuff. Actually, yeah.
Just needs to be done.
Yeah, actually, it needs to be done. But the focus on desktop is coming more and more now that we have the Pine phone, which
There's
supports
so many devices.
Yep. And with Pine comes mainline, and with mainline comes Mesa, and with Mesa comes desktop. So this is all coming together, and I think in the end of the year we will see a lot better support on both desktop, Pine, mainline, and all devices in general. A lot of stuff is happening, especially the last months. And the target is moving really fast. Now stuff is finally getting done, and because from before the summer we had a lot of underlying issues that we was fixing, and a lot of low level issues, and a lot of bring up, and newer mirror was coming into place, and we are finally up to date, and we are standing on top of latest trunk from Canonical and has improved it since then.
Oh, yeah. Oh, good point, Gizmo Chicken. When we did the Edge merge, we might have clobbered the README, so that needs to be repushed. There is a tag.
Ooh.
If you'd like to do that before we get to it. There's a tag Unity or Xennial before 2019 Edge merge. You can take the README out of that, put it on top of the Xennial branch again, and we will approve that PR. Thank you for bringing that up.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that when doing the
Right.
git push -f.
Pavoke asks, with all the new desktop space in the latest Unity 8 from Edge, will there be some sort of desktop widget? Like plasmoids? KDE plasmoids? Pavoke,
Well, if
you have opened the can of worms. Congratulations.
if you implement it, sure.
There is a forum post called I Wanna Go Home that I wrote that was about what is the home screen? Do we need a home screen? Where should the home screen be? What is a home screen anyway? Existential crisis, you know? That is definitely required reading before you jump in on this topic. Its conclusion was, we're not going to do anything in this space right now. But if you'd like to learn more about what the community thinks, there are a lot of opinions in that thread. A lot of opinions that are good to read through before getting started on this topic.
So let me rephrase a little bit what Dalton said there also. The reason behind this is that we have a lot of more critical issues that we need to fix first, like location and sensors and all this. We also have bring up of 1 million devices coming up now.
Yeah, we do, actually.
It feels like it, at least. And the thing is, we as a core team don't have the time yet. But of course, if someone wants to work on it and wants to implement something like that, sure, we all up for ideas, and it's open source, so everyone can contribute. But for the core team, right now, we simply don't have time.
Yep.
Okay. Aurelio asked, has the establishment of the UBports Foundation already enabled advantages for the project and/or agreements with other companies or foundations? Yes, but we cannot talk about everything because we have a lot of things in the pipeline. Some of which are under NDA, some of which are just not ready to say about. But there's also many like not 100% tangible things that are advantages of this one, of having an established body, of having a registered nonprofit, as stable as a foundation in Germany, which just gives you a lot more credibility, and inspires a little more confidence than just saying, okay, we are random people on the internet, right? So yes, it is. We already have seen some positive effects of this. Absolutely.
Nice.
Okay, next question. Now that Edge is merged, what will be the next big thing in this short, medium, and long term? I want a roadmap! In all caps.
Yeah. No, that wasn't in the question. I added that. I'm sorry, but that's what I read.
That's Dalton's words.
That's my words, not his.
But I briefly actually went into this in a previous question. With that, we have newer location D and sensors, and also ARM64 libhypers. I think these are the core main things that we are going to work on for the next long term, especially location D.
It's more of a medium-term thing, but yes.
Yeah, well, I would call location a long term because location is hard. So
Yeah.
But the current reason for this is that we have a pretty well working system, but there is these especially location bugs that are really really breaking everything and making the user experience really bad. So these are the things that we really want to work on, and also going more upstream, being less dependent on not invented here code. For example, for sensors, instead of using our own sensors, we use upstream ones from Sailfish.
Sensor
FW, by the way.
No, that's no fun to say. That's no fun to say.
Sensor. But also we have libhybris, newer version of libhybris. This is now I'm speaking directly on Edge. We already have the new libhybris in Edge now. That the new devices these devices that we showed earlier are benefiting. But also one of the more interesting side of things is Wayland support, and starting to polish that, and also getting closer and closer to Wayland 100% Wayland support. We are getting pretty close now, and stuff is working pretty fine, especially on the Pinephone. But there is still a lot of missing bits and pieces. And yeah, so that's the short, medium, long-term goals.
Yeah.
But one thing that I forget to mention, which is always something we want to do, is doing a good round of just polishing, just making it stable, just making less of pain to use some parts of it.
Let's release OTA12 in the short term.
Yeah, because the thing is that we have to realize there is a lot of part of Ubuntu Touch that is not there. Some parts are excellent. Some parts, especially GPS, is not good.
Absolutely. Yeah. Matteo asks, a topic being discussed very often is regarding the unconfined status of apps. Some people think it's good to have unconfined apps published in the open store. Others are much more strict. I would say evangelically against it, and I think unconfinement shall only be reserved to the OS itself and to its functionality. What do you think? For reference, classic confinement in the Snap Store is a big no-no. Well, if you want to know, okay. Oh, you wrote that. Okay, yes. Yeah, I think the Snap Store is a good example there, Dalton. But I think we have an okay. I don't know the actual numbers of unconfined apps on the Open Store, but I think we have an okay way of working with unconfined apps right now. So there are some third-party apps that you might want and that have to be unconfined to work, like UT tweak tool, for example, which would not work in a confined way. But in general, yes, everybody who can obey the confinement rules should follow them. And
And if
should
it's an
not-
important enough app, we can probably figure out a way to create a new confinement layer or otherwise poke holes that they can use.
Exactly, especially if it's something that might be beneficial for more than one use case, right? So, yes, we still like confinement. We still want to confine as much as possible. But if it takes time to create a confinement rule that is tailored to your use case, having an unconfined in the app and the open store can also be an intermediate step. We can figure it out. Get in touch if you have a problem with our confinement. We will fix it.
So also the thing with unconfined app is that every unconfined app has to be manually confirmed by admin on the open store. So this also creates a really good layer for being able to sift through the applications that because, for example, you can't publish a closed source unconfined app. That won't be allowed. But there will be able to, like, for example, UT tweak rules and ad blocker, which are two excellent examples because they modify the system to work at all. And as Jan said, they won't work without confinement at all.
Right. And that's not a good thing if we could make a way to do it in an unconfined way. For example, with proxying and blocking those requests, it would be better. Because right now it's making the system image read write, and that's
Okay, I guess you can see that there is some disagreement here. But just bottom line is, get in touch if you have problems with our confinement. We can always figure something out. Right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
If it is something that would be useful to have as a rule, we can make a rule for that. We can do that.
So yeah, I think the TLDR, if can be confined it. If not, contact us.
Mm-hmm. And we should work towards the confinement in the future.
Yes.
Always getting better. Extra Raymond asks, what's the plan onward with Libertine? With LibHandy and Kirigami out there, we can assume that more desktop apps will be mobile optimized. It seems to be easier to find desktop apps that support mobile than the other way around, and it aligns with our convergence goals. The thing with those examples is Libertine is just a way to install deb packages and run them through an X server right now.
Well, not necessarily.
In a PRoot and with a little bit more complexity.
Yeah. Well, you can run them without X server. You can actually run them.
Okay, you can run Miracast through it, but
yeah,
come on.
To install the packages. That is the important part.
So I think the misunderstanding is often that Libertine is just for X application, but Libertine is basically to be able to install deb packages on top of a read-only file system.
Okay.
That's where it comes from.
The thing is, it would still be better to have those apps in confined click packages that correctly support all of the features of the system. Mm-hmm. So with LibHandy and Kirigami out there, both of those should be able to be packaged up correctly. Kirigami a little bit easier because we're able to get that into the system, even though we have an older version since Kirigami upgraded its Qt requirements. And LibHandy might just need to be packed into the click itself, which would be messy, but possible. As we continue into our Wayland future, it'll be easier to do that kind of thing as well, because, of course, GTK, Wayland, Qt, Wayland, good.
Yeah, also to get your point there on LibHandy, currently you can't run LibHandy because it doesn't support Mir. There is an experimental Mir backend for GTK, but that hasn't been updated in a million years. So right now, libhandy won't work.
Right. That's as we continue forward to our Wayland future.
Yes, but Kirigami works. We already have Kirigami apps, so
An older version, though, right now.
yeah. You can backport it if you want.
His next question was, what kind of a specification would a new port need for external display to work? More broadly speaking, do you have any specific plans about that?
So there is a part of Unity 8, the new Unity 8 that comes, which has a pretty interesting part, which hasn't been merged in yet, which is the external display support. And there we can start to see the vision what Canonical had with convergence and how it all plays in with different displays. You had options to mirror on the second screen instead of the virtual touchpad and all these cool stuff. So that's one part of it. Expanding that idea and be able to do that properly. But also together with KDE Connect, I'm not sure how that would go together with convergence, but it would work as a like it does on Android, pretty much just get your your notifications and sound and the volume control and all this on your desktop computer. So I don't know where that fit in with convergence, but it's definitely possible to have KDE Connect. I had a version of KDE Connect working a while back, but I never got time to finish it.
Did we jump? Yes. Okay, we jumped. Sorry.
Did we jump?
Yes. You jumped
Wait,
into the next question.
But they were very similar.
But they were very similar, and actually those dovetailed into each other perfectly. So the next question was from Pavoke. Were there any questions to work more on the mobile screen part and make the stuff that shows up on the phone screen while connected to the larger screen?
Oh, I can't read. I didn't separate that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I will actually go back to the other question then. Because what specification does a new port for need for an external display? Okay, that's a completely different question. Okay, I can't read. Me can't read. Yeah. So what the device need is display out is what we call it. Older devices use a display port, while newer devices uses something called USB display alternative display port over USB-C or
Split
USB.
port alt mode.
Yeah, USB 3.1 basically supports this.
But not necessarily.
Yeah,
It's fun.
most of the Qualcomm devices with USB 3.1 supports this. It's hard. It's complicated. There is a list actually on Wikipedia you can check, which has a list of phones that support display mode out. And this can yeah. Those devices that support that can support convergence.
Okay. And his second question was, what is this? Not his second question, Pavoke's second question, since we're skipping. What is the status of Miracast support on Ubuntu Touch? Is it still working? I can answer that with a yes. If you have one of these, where'd it go? Microsoft display adapters. These work. I know these work. With the OnePlus One and the Nexus 5, these work. There are other Miracast devices out there. Many of them do not work. Microsoft implemented the protocol a certain way that Canonical tested and made it work.
Well, to be honest, Microsoft implemented them correctly.
Yes, that I didn't want to say it, but yes, they are the only ones that did it right.
Well,
Microsoft.
There is other that did it correctly, but Microsoft ones were the cheapest and that has the correct implementation, basically. Yep. But it works on my TV and it works on most Miracast. But if there is Wang Han Lo one from you order from China, it probably won't work.
Yep. So pick up the official Microsoft adapter if you really want to know that it's going to work. But it is not a perfect experience. There's a lot of lag, and it's better to have a wired display out if you want to do that.
Right. So for videos, it's fine. Then
Yeah,
like
like YouTube
documentary.
video or whatever it may be.
But for
Or watching
desktop
this
use,
live stream.
yes, yes. And this is also where the new Unity 8 comes in, is where you can actually mirror your display instead of converging it. So
Extending.
extending. Well, you
Yeah.
can also extend and mirror it or whatever. But yeah.
Whatever you want.
And also,
It's
this also
perfect.
fits in with the other question, Anne. I'm jumping back again. Did you mean KDU Connect on Ubuntu Touch? Yes.
Okay, that was a lot of jumping. Let's go to
Yeah.
YouTube live chat now.
Yeah.
Cheese Bacon asks, do you expect Ubuntu Touch adoption to pick up as soon as the Pinephone is released? How do you guys feel about the hardware so far? So I would say that the Pinephone, yeah, we feel about the hardware pretty strongly. We like it. But I would add that the Pinephone is not going to be magic. It is awesome in the way that it is a device with a clean stack, which is what we've always been dreaming of. It is just 100% actual GNU Linux on there, without any Halium shenanigans, which is pretty damn beautiful, right? It's not going to be magic in a way that it's going to be in every store. Everybody will use it. It is not the most high-powered device, so
No.
in that regard, it's not going to be for everyone. Even though it is going to be a finished product, as it looks like, it is mostly going to be targeted at developers.
Yep.
It's still a big milestone, but it's not going to be the one that is going to get us 80% market share, right?
Yep.
So that's my
Of course,
two
it
cents.
is still that all-winner A64, so set your expectations accordingly. It is a tablet mobile chip that you saw in those tablets that you had in whatever your equivalent of Walmart is. So just know that it is a lower-end chip. It won't
Yep.
have the fastest LTE, it won't have the fastest anything, but it's about to boot Unity 8.
But you also need to realize that the price is $150 for a phone that's specifically made for us, basically.
12 a.m. on January 1st, 1970. The real-time
Oh,
clock's a little broken on these.
You know, that's before we were born.
Yeah, time really do work like that, don't it?
Yeah. I didn't know.
Comparable to the Nexus 5, much slower than the Nexus 5. Their comparable device for us would be the BQ E4.5.
Well, faster than those, since it's ARM64.
It'll be faster than the E4.5, but it has the same GPU.
Yeah.
But it will be a little more optimized, hopefully.
Yep.
So it will be a better experience probably, but it's not going to be a flagship device. That is just what you have to understand about it. That doesn't mean we're not incredibly excited about this, because we are, and it is awesome to see this happening. It's not going to be the magic wand that gets us way up there.
But it is going to be magic.
It is going to. It is, yes. Okay, yeah. I stand
It's
corrected.
magical.
It is magical, but it's not going to completely change everything. But it is part of getting there, right?
Yeah. It's a start. We need to start somewhere. Well, Pine needs to start somewhere, and I think that's where the idea comes from. Is you see the evolution of the Pine book, for example. They started with the A64, and now they got up to the Rock Pro. And the Rock Pro is
Far and
pretty
away
decent.
faster. Yeah.
Yes. The phone can't run the Rock Pro, sadly, because it's too much heat. But I certainly there will come new CPUs from either of them, or either a different type of CPU. That will be the Pinephone 2 or Pinephone Pro. I'm not sure what they
Pinephone 2.
if they
We should add that
Pinephone
we
2.
have no intel on
No,
Yeah.
plans
right?
for
No, we're
this
just
whatsoever.
guessing.
But it is not.
It's speculation.
It is not completely unfounded speculation to think that they might do next generations of their product, right?
Yeah.
Even though we don't know anything about it. But yeah, it's
Well, yeah,
be fun.
that's the idea of this phone is a start, and that's where it all comes from. This idea is also to bring in something that really haven't been done before in this way, a fully community supported device, basically. I don't think that has ever been done actually. It's a device that has just community support. There's no software wise, that is. Everything software that comes from it is built for the community, by the community, and by people like you and me.
Yep. And it's really cool.
It's really cool.
It's really cool.
And it runs.
And it runs everything, right? I mean, Postmarket's on this thing. Plasma Mobile will be on it. It's going to be like this collaboration center among everything else that you just said. It's going to be this huge collaboration center. It's
But
so,
not Android.
Which
to
is
answer your
really,
question-
really, really nice to see.
Yeah.
To answer your question, how do we feel about it?
Feel pretty good.
We like it. We feel pretty good about it.
It might also, one thing that I saw in your question is that might this be the one that increase our user base? I don't think it will increase our user base. Well, it of course a little
Well,
bit,
of
but I
course it
think, of course it will. But I think what we are more excited is that this will increase the developer user base on any of these platforms. For Linux mobile in general, and for Ubuntu Touch and Unity 8 and all this, there will be a lot more developers, a lot more people from the Linux community to bring this to life. And we hope.
Okay.
That was fun.
I don't think we finished that one.
No.
But stay.
A long-winded
Stay
way
up
of
to date
saying
on it.
yes, good, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But let's move to the next question. Christian Zig asks, what are the plans for Anbox and when is it coming to Ubuntu Touch to enable Android app support? So let's just first get this out of the way. Yes, we do want it. We do know that many of you guys want it. We do think that it's important. Yes, absolutely. We do want it. So as most of you might be aware, we have a proof of concept implementation of Anbox for some devices. You can find the information about that on docs.ubports.com. Many are still missing, and it's still missing a lot of polishing to actually be usable for your daily needs, right? So it is not what we're looking for yet. However, we are confident that the approach of Anbox is a very good one, and that it is the way to go for Android app compatibility. We have had some really major development tasks ahead of us. We have had them ahead of us, namely the
Still do,
Still,
but
still have.
still do in part. We still have some very major ones ahead of us, but with Edge now being merged into Devil, that frees up some resources. So we can't go crazy yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if we can assign Anbox a little higher priority in the very near future.
Yeah. So this also go back to my original another question I had is that we really want to fix these Ubuntu Touch issues like location service and sensors and all these, and these also need to be working for Anbox to be a nice experience too. because you might want to have sensors in the Android side of things. But then sensor actually has to be working correctly. Well, they do work on most devices, but most of the things we don't have, like we only have rotation and proximity sensor. Those are the tools we have. But with sensor SV, we get everything: pressure, magnets, and all that.
How do they work? Sorry.
Yeah. What?
Nothing.
You dropped out for a second. My internet is slowly.
Oh.
Oh. But yeah, Anbox is coming. But if you want to contribute to Anbox, there is no one stopping you. So please do. Hint, hint.
Yeah. Give it a try, and the kernel needs work, and Anbox itself needs work.
Oh, I need to do that. Right.
Yes, you need to rebuild the kernel for the Nexus 5, please.
Yes. I don't have the source downloaded. I need to do that again.
Don't do it right now.
No.
That's already dying. Question from live chat. I understand that this project is mostly focused on bringing Ubuntu Touch to mobile. But is there any plan to release the desktop environment as a standalone package for Linux anytime soon? Yeah, it runs on Ubuntu, sort of, kind of, 1804. And as we discussed earlier in the show, there are instructions that need to be added back to the README for how to install it. And we super appreciate anyone's help. There are login issues. There are issues with launching apps. It is work in progress. So launching it and packaging it for a bunch of distros may or may not be the best use of time right now.
Yep. So the biggest problem we actually have with it is systemd. It boils down to systemd.
Everything boils down to systemd.
Isn't that the
Yeah.
biggest problem of humanity in general?
Yes.
Can of worms.
Go
Open.
upstart. Go upstart. Or
No, actually, we should
Startup.
add that the reason we are still on Upstart is not an ideological one.
No,
it
it's
is. It is kernel patches
Yeah.
on some of the former official devices, the commercial devices, which will be fun for us. So that's why we're still on Upstart. That's why we're still on Xenial, because Xenial still has support for Upstart. But continue, Marius.
a little bit ideological, because there's
No.
a lot of work that needs to be done to enable Snapchat. I say to enable systemd, and there are ideological things that comes in here. Is that we have a lot to do, and is that really our first priority? That's where it also comes into.
It's prioritizing, not a... Never mind. Keep going. Keep going. Unity 8.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe my words are not correct in my English, but yeah, prioritization plays in a lot. Also, it comes down to why the same with Anbox, for example. It's always prioritization that comes in because we are a small team and we are a small little group that tries to make this happen. And compare us to Ubuntu or Android, we are really small team, and that's why we need to prioritize the important things right now. Like moving to systemd is not a focus right now.
Right. Seeing a lot of questions about getting rid of older devices and bringing in new devices. So as we discussed earlier, Xperia X, OnePlus 3 are both coming in. I'm still able to get the Xperia X new in shrink wrap, so that seems like a good option. And OnePlus 3, it sounds like a lot of people have those. So yes, there are new devices coming, just as there have been for a while. Thanks for your question.
Actually, there's a lot of new devices coming. I've been
Yeah.
following the porting group. We had Tiger Pro, which
And that Pinephone, yo.
yeah, Pinephone. We have Librem when that gets shipped to us, and we also have a lot of porting devices. We have Pine Tab, Pine Book.
Lots
There's
of
a
stuff
lot
coming.
A lot of stuff. there's a lot of goodies. But if you aren't in the UBports porter group and you want to port a device, give it a go. It's easier than ever now that we have proper documentation.
Wow.
No, this comes back to my when I started porting the OnePlus One in 2015. There was zero to none of documentation,
And there was still none in 2017 when it was dropped.
yeah, that's well, it was more because me and Michael actually worked on. Michael Hall was working on documentation before they dropped, so there was some, but I'm also not a good documentation writer.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Amen to
I'll
that.
take it. Pie Rat, just a question. How can I emulate the Ubuntu Touch system to try it? Yeah, Ubuntu Touch emulator isn't working. That's something that would be interesting to get running again. So the Ubuntu Touch emulator before was just a Android emulator running Ubuntu Touch. You probably don't need to do anything that complex anymore. It's probably possible to run the generic rootfs image that we have on ci.ubports.com with a QEMU compatible kernel and set those settings.
You can actually already run this. The images that are on the CI, you can just spin up on a QEMU, or to even get faster, a VirtualBox with 3D acceleration, and it just works.
Okay,
It's on Wayland though, so.
Marius just got a new job, which is write documentation for how this works. Thank you.
Woo!
I will send the cryptic details to Dalton, and he can.
And he'll do it the right way. Guess who else just got a new job?
But yeah, I
Thank
should.
God.
I will make that actually. I will do.
Someone write that down. Sock? Sock? Sock?
No. This is actually a possibility for me to actually eat sock, because me and documentation is
Difficult relationship.
yeah.
All right. There's still a lot of questions coming in, but I think we need to get out of here. So thank you, everyone, so much for joining us for the Ubuntu Touch Q&A. This was awesome. And Marius, again, good choice. You set it to ultra low latency, so we're getting these questions even faster. That was a good choice. We're going to do that in the future.
I always do good choices.
You always...
Always correct. Always good
happens.
choices.
Thanks for those watching in Stuttgart. Jan still hasn't corrected my pronunciation.
Stuttgart.
Ich
I
liebe
was
dich.
close.
Actually, not that bad. Stuttgart.
Stuttgart.
Okay.
Ich liebe dich. Ja, ich esse Brot.
Sehr gut, sehr gut.
Sehr gut.
You can find us all throughout the week if you want to get in touch. We are very social on Facebook, Twitter, PixelFed, Mastodon, LinkedIn, Instagram, Diaspora. You can get to any of those. Those are down in the description. Or if you want to chat with us live, in a live fashion, and not just through YouTube, you can find us on Telegram as @UBports. That is our main group. We also have a forum. We have Matrix. Or if you want to get news directly into your chat feed, you can join our Telegram or Matrix news channels. All those are also down in the description. Thanks for joining us, guys. Cheese Bacon especially. I saw Big Daddy Linux is in here, so thank you all for being here. And we will see you in the next one.
Apfelstrudel.
Bye.
Bye.